Kakashi infiltrates the Anbu Foundation to save his new friend Tenzo. In my review of Naruto Shippuden, episode 356. Indiana Jones would hate this week's episode because there were a lot of freaking snakes in it. In particular, there was the return of the ever-slimy Orochimaru, and I do love that he was in his big, monstrous, snaky form, and it is worth noting he looks a little different than the first time we saw him in this form. If you guys actually remember back when Sasuke was leaving the Neverland Ranch and he was attacking Orochimaru, when he was in this form, his face looked like kind of like a hybrid of a snake and a human. This time, it's more of just a realistic-looking snake face that has white skin color. But it still looks really awesome. It still gives him all of his powers of being a big snake, which usually just involves biting shit, rolling around, wrapping people up, and swallowing Yamato. By the way, this could be turned into a drinking game at this point. Whenever someone gets eaten or swallowed by a giant snake in Naruto, it's happened actually quite a number of times. But what's really interesting here is Kakashi saves him, but they're forced to retreat because when Orochimaru is cut in half, all of this poisonous air emits from his body, and they have to make a quick escape. But this is where the bulk of the episode comes into play, where both Kakashi and Yamato return to the village, and Yamato is remembering his mission, where Danzo said to get a Sharingan eye, and while Kakashi is passed out, he almost sort of considers it, and this is all a fake out, because he creates this one fake Sharingan eye out of wood and puts it in a glass jar, and returns this to Danzo, and of course, Danzo is furious. He is pissed off. And he's like really shocked by the sudden change in his student Kinoue, and suddenly Yamato just stands up and he's like, no, I'm a person, I'm from the Hidden Leaf Village, and I have a name, and I have emotions, and I'm not going to take your shit anymore. But that's when Danzo uses his Sharingan Eye to knock him out, and they decide to lock him up. And this is where this big rescue mission comes in, where Kakashi meets up with the third Hokage, and there's also a nice little cameo that we also saw last week from Yugao, and she's also helping out in the mission, and they're trying to get a summons from Danzo, but he's not responding at all. And this is when Kakashi's like, screw this, I'm gonna walk in here like the Terminator in the freaking police station. He's just gonna come in and demolish everything. And he comes in and he takes out a few guys with his Sharingan Eye, and he's able to save Tenzo. But that's when he gets cornered by Danzo and all of the other Anbu, and then suddenly the third Hokage appears, and that's when they have to have these big negotiations process for what they're gonna do with Tenzo. And the third Hokage has finally realized like what Tenzo's abilities are, and he basically says we need him because the Jinchuriki is going to be important in the future. And he also mentions that Naruto is 4 years old at this point, so that's just giving you a nice little time frame of where things are going at this point. But this is essentially where the third Hokage takes Kakashi and Yamato under his wing, and then Yamato joins Kakashi and his group, and it's strange like seeing the extreme difference between the two Anbu groups, because the Foundation is so hardcore, they're constantly in the shadows, they're always underground, and then you just go to this locker room, which looks like a bunch of like cops who just got off duty, which is pretty much what the Anbu are, and it's just funny because they're like the Boy Scout versions. They just don't seem as hardcore, but you know like they're pretty badass still. I mean, just the fact that they're ninja makes them pretty damn capable, but it's amazing seeing that extreme difference between the Foundation and the regular Anbu. But still, pretty damn good episode this week that was delving a little bit more into Yamato's past, whatever you want to fucking call him. I'm going to keep calling him Yamato because that's the name we've had the longest amount of time. But this was an episode I'm glad they finally gave us, because this seemed like, to me, the most important episode of this whole Kakashi Anbu arc. It seems like it's been leading up to this, but there's still a little bit more. Like next week, we're actually finally going to see Itachi make his return, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to do with that, because, boy, they've been holding out on him for a long time. But other little things that I really liked about this episode, some things that you might not even think about. I really liked the use of colors and art style when they were down in the Foundation, in particular the scene where Tenzo was talking to Danzo, and he was being scolded by him. The first time they were there, there was that big paper door with having all that red light shine into the room. And I don't know, I liked all the shadows and everything, and there was the scene where they were walking down the hallway and it was all the blue lights and everything. It gave this like really like ninja-y dark atmosphere to the Foundation, and I know that's a weird way to describe it, but that's what I liked about it. I just thought it really reeked of the atmosphere. I liked the Yugao cameo this week. She did a lot more than she did last week aside from just appearing. Kakashi was awesome this week, especially how he just started to walk past those two Anbu guards. He's like, screw this shit, I'm just going to save my friend. I'm not even going to worry about waiting on the third. But still, Pretty nice episode. I wish the entire Kakashi Anbu arc could have been like this, but, you know, it looks like they're going to end it with a bang. I don't know if last week, or excuse me, I don't know if next week's episode is going to be the last one. Maybe there's a couple more. But I'm actually kind of enjoying it right now that we're getting away from the weird smoke people. But Kakashi's fight with the smoke guy was so cool. But otherwise, this episode was pretty damn solid. Some of the artwork, though, was a little wonky at times. You'll know what I mean when you watch the episode. And some things could have been tightened up a little bit more. So I am going to bump this week's episode down to an 8 out of 10. As far as entertainment value goes, I think you're really going to dig this episode. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with Itachi next week. So check this one out. 8 out of 10 for me. It's still pretty damn awesome. You heard my thoughts on this week's episode, but I want to hear from you guys. What did you think about this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? Did you have any favorite moments? Did you think this episode just plain sucked? And what do you want to see from Itachi next week? Remember, guys, before you leave, make sure and hit that like button so you can give this video a thumbs up. It's one of the easiest ways to support our videos. And you could subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And you can check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. I'll put links to both of those in the description box below. And before you guys go today, I want to let you know that me and Christian just got done doing an interview with Everything One Piece. I will direct you guys to a link to both that video and to his channel, so make sure to check both of those out. They're pretty damn awesome, and like and subscribe to all of his content. It's a lot of great stuff. He's interviewing a lot of the anime reviewers of the community, and he's doing a fantastic job. So check that out, guys, and I will see you next time. Super Kami Guru 9000, out.